Yeah, okay, it's after 6. Get us rolling. Yeah, we'll be here in a few minutes.
When you earn it,
Everybody else says that.
well, I was gonna say, when you earn it, you earn it, right? This was
Because I don't know who's here and who's what was. So we eat.
Okay, let's get started. All right, so the first one in your package is the county commission budget. I did prepare this one. I don't know, wasn't sure who was supposed to do it, so I just did it. I just told you. Well, I wasn't sure. Ginger has reviewed it. It is making assumptions that training will be in person in Nashville and that everyone will attend, which I know is probably not going to happen, but it was my understanding that that's how it has to be budgeted. It has to be offered to everyone. So that is the majority of what's in this budget. The other stuff, I did increase the audit fee just a tiny bit. I have not talked to Paula about that as far as whether it goes up or how that works. I don't really know. So that may be adjusted back down, but I mean, it's so minimal, it doesn't make that big of a difference. Everything else is pretty much as it was the previous year. Like I said, the main thing was just the travel and the class fees. There will be a class fee for next year for UPC tasks. When it was done online, they didn't charge a fee for it, and they're going to charge for it. I think it's minimal. But there's a schedule on the back that gives you that, and also the committee meetings, and it's assuming that everybody attends all the meetings that they're supposed to, which is probably also not going to happen. And that there were 4 extra ones, I think, 4 extra ones. So, but that, I mean, it does look like it's significantly more because of that particular situation, but that's what she told me to do. It has to be available for those who want to go. Yeah, and I only did 2 nights stay. Not everyone will stay for 2 nights. Somebody would stay, some will just stay 1 and some will go. Only, I think new commissioners are required to go. But I felt like that was sufficient. I didn't feel like they needed 3 nights.
Night on arrival, nights.
Well, the class is 2 night of arrival and then the following night if it runs over.
First go.
Personally, I would think you would just need 1, but we put 2 in there because I asked Karen to check to see, and she said, you know, kind of averaged out. Some people stayed both nights, so I just put them both in there to be safe.
The drive.
Yeah.
Drive down there the first night.
Yeah, because I think the class ends, I think
The day.
Rick said like 3 or 4, and so some people wouldn't be comfortable driving back. I mean, to me, I'd probably drive back that night, but some people might not be comfortable doing that, so that's that one in a nutshell. You all will know if I've missed anything more than I will.
What's that matching share? I know that's not a cost for this year, but what is that? The 600,000?
That was to do with the broadband, so that would increase the amount given to broadband, and that's, to me, that wasn't a good place to put it, but that's where it landed, so.
Okay.
It was last year.
No.
It's where it was last year.
Yeah, so I'm not sure about that one, why it landed there, but it will not be repeated.
Well, where would they go?
I have no idea. I think that was why it's where it is. Yeah, it's part of the reserve.
The new communication also will come under the heading of the mayor, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Like anything associated with him and his profession.
Well, this is broadband.
Well, I know, but that comes under ARP, so when you.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true.
So when you approve that and get approved for it, it has to go in one.
Yeah.
I think because it was a motion from the board commission.
Yeah,
a
we can
commission
talk to
meeting.
Paula and see, if it needs to be moved, then we'll move it before we close the
Say
books.
600,000, that was what we put up for, matches fund for see in the page 2.
I guess have to look back before you become result.
I didn't think y'all got paid for that. Do you get paid for beer board? I think you got paid for that.
The thing is, see, we have
How often
six,
do
let's
they
see, we
meet?
got, but admittedly, monthly, and it depends on renewals or new applications. But let's see, we have 5 members now, so Travis.
5 or 6, we had 6, I think.
Commission,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but her attorney and
You don't get paid for that.
chair and some others. They suppose they're going to put one per district. Am I correct on that?
Now that I don't remember. That's all right, we're at 6.
but now does that one occur on the same night as the other one?
It's just as needed as somebody fills out for a beer license.
So
We've got one in May.
Yeah, you've got 2
Be 23rd of
on it. Change.
So should we put 6 meetings in there for the year?
I'd say that's probably low.
Okay, so we need to add to your board.
There's a health board too, for the health department.
Do they get it?
I think it's turned into the site, but I don't know if it's supposed to be or not. I mean, I do this way, I don't even turn it in if it wasn't.
There's several small ones. So you've got the one that's appointed to go to
I mean,
the Chamber of Commerce. You get paid for your Chamber of Commerce. Then the one at the USDA, it used to not be.
Ag extension, they don't get,
Ag don't get paid. Library don't get paid.
Okay, so we'll add that $300 up there. Anything else anybody sees that I missed?
You didn't, you just didn't know.
Well, I didn't know that one got paid for, so. Well, you were letting me make a mistake, so that's my mistake.
You ain't make one. She ain't for it. What a sad life.
The hotel cost and the meal cost and so forth were based on what seems to be occurring at the moment. And I went and that seems to be the going rate.
Well, I think previously record that shows is the state per diem on the state would go by as our guideline.
Yeah, so a lot of this stuff came from CTAS, and then I just averaged out the miles. I just pulled it up, I think, on Nashville and saw how many miles it was and just averaged it out that way. Because people could ride together and all that stuff, but can't make that assumption.
This is not the only part, but it's going to help.
But, put it on
we have to pay them to do it when it's a state mandate requirement.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay, on to the next one, Board of Equalization.
Good evening, everybody. I gave you an outline of this. The Equalization Board. And, you can see they've not had an increase, probably 10 years. They did an excellent job during the reappraisal last year. They're very well trained, and hopefully we can hang on to them for a while, and they do a real good job. So I asked for the $25 per day increase, which total with goes with it, Social Security, Medicare, totals to $13.99.45. So that's all request I had on that. How many members are there? Five, yeah. One chairman, 4 members. It's hard enough to get anybody to be a member.
Yeah, what's the meeting schedule like for the Board of Equalization?
First 2 weeks of June every year. Or 10 days,
How many hours a day?
or 7 to 8. Right now, they're getting $100 a day. And it's been that way, I guess, for probably 10 years. Like I say, they had to work extra week last year due to the appeals we had.
Anybody got anything?
Go ahead and do the assessor's office.
I should say, just do the other ones, wait.
Real quick. Okay, the only request I had was to move $10,000 from assessor's office to the reappraisal office. To compensate our extra job duties and responsibilities, due to the loss, we had 2 employees, one worked for 40 years and the other 23. And I've got 2 new people, so, and they're doing an exceptional job, so hope that I'm enough to keep them. That's the only request I had as far as reappraisal and assessor's office.
Looks like the only other increases you've got on here are like insurance, gas, that sort of thing, right?
Just what happened, well, the gas should stay about the same, but we don't know where it's gonna go to. And everything else is just, well, there are some decreases in office supply, stuff like that.
We probably got, I'd say 100 to 125 new houses under construction. Right now. Also, one this year. 25 years ago, we might have had 20. Now we've got over 100. So, due to the extensive, construction that's going on. We've got about the same amount of employees.
Yeah, I want to thank you for getting the information that I'd requested over to Josh today.
You're very welcome.
Very much appreciate that.
You will. I want to thank you all for the job y'all did. This done that job. Along with the finance department also, Mayor, all of it. So, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
He did a great job on his recognition. Thank you. Okay, Election Commission.
Good evening. Yeah, I'm asking for a bunch of stuff here. We have 2 elections coming out of this next budget. That's why a lot of this stuff is doubled. On the election officials, I asked for, instead of 80,000, 88,000. So that would give 4,000 per election to give the election workers a $25 raise, because right now they're making about $7.50 to $8 an hour on a 14, sometimes 15-hour days. And this would put them up to around $10 an hour. It's hard enough to try to get election people to work the elections, and it would entice them a little more if they did make at least $10 an hour. I am asking for a part-time person. In 21 years I've been administrator, I've never asked for a part-time person, but I really need someone it's just me and 2 employees. If one person's out, it makes it really hard on the rest of us, the other 2. But everything else that's asking for an increase is because of mainly just the extra election. I've never turned a budget in the red. So I'm very frugal with the budget. And only ask for what I need. Like everyone else. But does anybody have any questions on it? I know it's kind of just cut and dry, but
Why did your workers' compensation insurance drop to 0?
I have no idea.
Yeah, the liability insurance, workers' compensation set up at 0 on here. Line 506 on page 2. Shows a drop of $29.75 on the proposed budget. Did it get moved to a different line?
We'll take a look at that because we were working on the insurance allocations today. So we have to revise all the budgets with the new allocations.
Yeah, that shouldn't be
So
0.
it shouldn't be 0, but
Okay.
I don't know why it's not on here.
Yeah. All right, yeah, we'll look at that. That's, I didn't catch that.
You also had your bonus payment set back to 0. Was that like a bonus that we had given out, or was that something for like certifications for somebody?
I didn't.
Line 188.
That's like county bonuses, so those
Okay.
are all zeroed out.
Gotcha. Just making sure.
The other salary and wages, 189, that's for our machine technicians. We have 3 of them listed out on machines for the elections.
Yeah, so it doubles because they've got an extra election they gotta pick up.
Yeah. anything that's increased or doubled is just due to the next election.
What about the data processing equipment, office equipment? You've got extra printer, computer if needed.
Yeah, I do put that in there for the election because we've had the printers out in early vote and go down, and we've had to hurry, try to get one in place. We've got an extra one set up right now for and a laptop for if one goes down. That's just a precautionary thing during the election because they get wore out.
Miller still serving for you? Uncle Millard, he's still on your board? Has he been replaced? Did he step down or?
Yeah, he stepped down. Diane.
Okay.
Is he doing?
I had talked to him, but I don't, he's having a tough time, I do think.
Any more questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck to you. You know, you got a lot of hard work ahead of you now.
Thank you.
Hey, come in here, you have 2 lines of tables, every window up in the air. Everything around the monument, everything around this courthouse. There was no travel road because people were back to back. And, all this thing, Pearly White would be at the window and just about every 15 or 20 minutes as they counted the paper ballots. That's only one. People call out the numbers. People out there were just sitting down writing every one of them, keeping them up. They'd be here at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, they were moving in. That's what it is. Now,
Well, Randall's not here, so he may have forgotten.
His campaign.
Oh, surely not. Might be a little early. Hold on.
That went, Travis, that went, whoop, I was like, what's he talking about? So evidently.
Where's John at? Tell John to put that in the paper. Travis, he gave us
I missed it, so. Just quickly on his budget, I'll speak to the things I know about. How's that? So his salary is state mandated. On his deputies, he had one person who passed the CCFO, and so we did the increase. That is the normal increase for accomplishing that. He also did some merit increases for a couple of employees that have gone basically above and beyond. These are permanent increases for these employees. They've also been pretty short-staffed, and so they've kind of stepped up and taken on some of that responsibility. So that is in there. 15%. Let's see, his dues for the Officials Association went up. He brought me that documentation, so that's what that difference is. And the increase on the software was the same thing. He did say they were going to be doing some in-person trainings next year, so that's the amount for the travel that is anticipated. And then the other insurance went up to 15%. And then he put in an amount for a piece of office equipment that he said he probably would have to replace. So his is pretty simple. The payroll report for that one, which the other ones too, if you notice on the back page, the payroll report's on there. If you want to look at them, I do take the names out. And if you want the names, I can tell you who they are. But pretty cut and dry on his. So he did a good job with it. We worked together on it. Nothing surprising or out of the ordinary. questions? All right, we can move on to the next one, General Sessions Court. Salary is state mandated for the judge. The other one is based on current year. And with Reynolds too, pensions are set back to 8%. It was pretty much across the board. The pensions were messed up in last year's budget. Increase for insurance, and that's it. Everything else is the same because I did this one. So I didn't get any comment that anything needed to be any different, so.
His increase is state mandated too, right?
Yes.
So I think if you look at the
With the exception of that.
It looks like, as far as their unencumbered balances, at least through the remainder of the year, they've got leftover in pretty much all the categories.
Yeah.
based
I
on what
looked at that. If they were short on stuff, I would have increased it, but since they weren't, I just left it.
So that works out.
That is the unencumbered number you're looking at. That's the ones from June of 20.
The other one's in there too. No, it's not, sorry.
That's right.
But I looked at it. This, actually, I've got it here with me
I'm
too.
saying I didn't want the heading. Cover the balance.
Yeah, I looked at it and it's fine.
That's the same on the list.
Going back through, it looks like all the others are good too.
Yeah, I mean, he's in real good shape for the rest of the year. Any more questions on that one? Okay, Juvenile Safety, I did not get a response on that one either, so I basically did the same thing.
Is this the one that we pay the place in Johnson City for? Is this where this one comes in?
Juvenile probation officers.
Okay.
Use YSOs. Did you fill that position yet? You had a YSO position open.
Yes, I couldn't get any, I didn't get a response, so I just left it the same as it was from last year. An answer, so.
No salary schedule on this one?
No, because I don't. I mean, it appears there's an open position, is what it appears, so. So we only need 2 people, so I didn't, if it was a situation like that, I didn't normally do a salary schedule.
Fine.
It is kind of what it is. Any questions? Okay.
On medical dental services, line 340, there's still $1,250 in that one. It's proposed out 0 to this year. That one get moved somewhere else? Or they didn't request anything?
They didn't use it last year, so I took it out.
Okay.
I put it back if you think I should. I mean, like I said, I don't know a lot about this one. So.
Judge Powers. Judge Powers controls both these budgets.
Because, I mean, I tried to, the person that was. And your response, so.
She would normally do your YSO budget, he does his. I provide that one before she presents it.
Okay, so maybe I need to talk to him.
Probably can talk to him.
Okay, I'll follow up on this.
So they're in the negative on the youth service officers? That was last year, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I literally just kind of put it back with the increases in the pensions and I didn't know what else to do with it because I'm not familiar with this operation. So Patty said to contact Judge Bowers, so I will, and see if he has any additional input on it, but I don't think it would change. If it did, it wouldn't be material. Okay, anything else? Mary, it's your turn. Austin, do not pick on her.
Will. I'm not asking for anything, any increases in my budget except for what's mandated.
Anybody have any questions for me? Short, sweet.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
She did a good job on hers too. We worked really hard on it, didn't we? Okay, drug court, I didn't know what to do with this one, other than I just put it in there what it actually is at the moment. What? Thank you, Mary. Any questions on that one? I don't know what to do with it other than what I did, so.
Yeah, this is one where this is pay that comes in from court costs and court fees, right?
So I just put it as to where it currently is right at the moment.
When it gets passed through, I think.
It's so restricted what the money can be done for. And the thing about it is if you violate that, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
There ain't no liability, you did.
Yeah, I stay away from All right, the next one is Chancery Court. Drew could not be here, but we've talked through all of the line items, and I put notes in on all of those. He put some of them in, but I put additional notes in there if you have any questions about that. I can relay those to him. This is pretty cut and dry. Any questions?
We got it all out of us last night, I believe. It's like that.
Yeah, I should say. I thought this would be a long night, but I guess not, so that's okay.
All the increases are nothing that we have any control over, so.
Yeah, exactly. David, you want to do yours real quick?
Sure.
This is very short, sweet, and to the point. Who's one of the first ones done, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Mine's pretty easy, yeah. I think the only change is under rentals, 10% increase, which is like $40
That's what line item to pay the service contract to keep up my printer, copier, fax. I left the travel money there, haven't used it for 2 years, but eventually I'm going to I might have to go back to in-person training. They offered it. Gave us a choice this year, so I just chose not to go, but and just do it online. But I think eventually they're gonna make us come back, so I just left it there. That's it. Any questions?
The medical insurance, insurance, 002.
I don't use I have TRICARE PA, so I don't use the medical. One question? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You got something? That's on my calendar. I don't know why. I didn't know. Showed up.
Presented, haven't you? Presented, Rob.
I didn't know if you called and said there's something. The secretary's out with oral surgery.
Last week.
Okay. I don't want to waste this time. We should find something wrong with this thing.
Just knock yourself out. I say just knock yourself out, take that thing.
Do anything else, it's your time.
Anything else that we need to talk about? Teresa and I are gonna go through outside agencies later this week and kind of do a little updated summary of what's been asked and what the differences are, and I guess kind of make some recommendations on what we might want to do or might not want to do. I've been working on the jail stuff this afternoon. We'll continue to do that tomorrow, and maybe the sheriff's department tomorrow afternoon. I'm assuming we still want to meet on Thursday to discuss that, or has that changed?
Yeah, I mean, if that was the day that we were supposed to start deliberating and making cuts.
I mean, that's what the original calendar was, but we're not to that point, so that's why if we want to discuss what I have done at this point, and then you all tell me where we go from here. That'll be up to you guys to decide what we're doing.
I believe one of the biggest things, wouldn't it be, the most important would be a pretty good caption of everything we've got to date as far as decrease, increase for what departments and everything. Do we know what we're looking at?
Well, I mean,
At the bottom line.
the sheriff's department is in there. I mean, that's obviously the swing thing because of the size. So if you want to wait until I finished what I'm doing and kind of come up with a number on that, and then I can tell you what we're short. We will be short, I can guarantee you that. But outside agencies are in there as for what they requested, and I think there's some work to be done there. And, I mean, there's a few other things, but to be honest with you, people have been pretty good about not trying to pad their budgets significantly. So, I mean, there may be a little bit of work on a few of them, but for the most part, I mean, they've done a pretty good job to hold it as tight as you possibly can. I think most of them have tried to do a good job of doing just that. Because I told them what was at stake as their employees getting raises.
And are we looking okay on those? I mean, we're wanting to target on those raises? I
It's
mean,
about 610,000.
how are we looking as far as being able to do that?
I mean, we're short without that, so.
Because I really feel like, and I'm going to stress it, that y'all be thinking about it. We promised those road officers when they stood in here and gave us their verbal permission, well, they don't need permission, but that it would be okay with them for us to handle the lower guards, because that's where it was needed. And we promised them we would revisit this. And if we can revisit it and go for everybody, I really hope that we can do that. and do something worthwhile. So our employees are what's kept this whole county running.
Because right now, if nothing changed, we didn't make any cuts and we would be short, what? 2.5?
No, it's bigger than that.
So there you go.
Without any cut.
It started at 2, but now it's,
2 million.
huh?
Yeah, 2 million.
No, Lord, no, I would probably have all gray hair at this point.
What's your
It's probably 500,000-ish, but I mean, that's gonna change.
Oh, that's all we're out around right now is about 500?
Yeah, but,
Yeah, still.
I mean, that's,
That's not as
I
bad
mean,
as I
but then you.
That was not.
I mean, I'm really pushing hard. These county employees deserve these raises, so.
When you say, the budgets you've done are pretty lean too. It seems like you've been working hard on it. It's hard to cut 500,000, something that's already pretty lean, isn't it?
Well, I mean,
Now, there is a fall, keep in mind, on your ARP, it has not been touched.
Yeah, but we can't use it for reoccurring costs.
And if we're sitting on,
No, that's not a recurring cost. The salaries are recurring,
Yeah,
but the bonus is not.
you're correct.
Okay, well, a sizable bonus will pretty well alleviate your pain for another year or two,
Yeah.
economy wise.
Yeah. That's very valid.
we also have to bear in mind how much more costs we're gonna have on these radios. The radios. We know we're gonna incur more costs than what the
Well, it's
initial.
like the budget, maybe they won't show it, won't talk about it.
I didn't tell people they couldn't have anything. I mean, don't take it that way, but I would strongly suggest that people keep as tight as they could on their budgets with the thought in mind that we wanted to give employees raises, so.
And it has shown in most,
I mean, everybody's, for the most part, done a pretty good job. There've been a few, but there's always gonna be a few that don't. But for the most part, I think everybody's really worked hard to make this a very efficient budget.
If you're looking at the unencumbered balances, even from last year, most of them are, under 5, some are, obviously some are bigger, like 35 on the unencumbered balance.
Yeah, we haven't done that yet. I was kind of holding that as kind of the last ditch effort to see what we could cut out, because I have not, I've been more focused on seeing if anybody's short and trying to get those types of items corrected. But what I haven't done is go through and see what's left. We're gonna cut the purchase orders off in May. And we're in the process of cleaning up purchase orders that are out there right now, that have been out there for quite some time, that maybe people forgot about and so forth. Once those two processes complete, then we'll have a better idea of what we're gonna have left over. And so we may be able to adjust accordingly for that, because a lot of people did go back on some of these and just put what they had last year. And it looks like, based on historically, some of them have done that for a while. I did ask I actually asked everybody to try to cut other things if they had a lot left over, to try to keep their bottom line from jumping too much. And some departments did better on that than others. But I don't think anybody was outlandish in their discussion that has presented to this point.
Did you happen to look at what I'd asked you about with EMS? With the pay rates?
EMS is not completed yet.
Okay.
I have some questions on that one, and Billy's been out of town, so.
Okay. Or not EMA? Not EMA, EMS.
Oh, rescue squad. Yes, you were correct on that. Sorry, I didn't hear you correctly.
Okay. So you have taken a look. Was I relatively accurate in what I'd found?
It appears that way.
Okay.
What number were they up to, like 700 or something? Or?
They brought it back to like 550, didn't they?
They came back and did another round. I think it was 550 or 570, something like that. It's laying on my desk. I didn't bring it in here, but still, that's a lot.
and didn't that entail 2 ambulances? Didn't that entail 2 ambulances as well? 2 new
On
ones?
on top of that,
Was it on top of that?
that's in addition to the 500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, you're looking at close, Travis, wouldn't you think that'd be close to $1 million in value of that money?
Oh, yeah. Well, they were asking for one ambulance and Elk Mills was asking for
And
an
Elk Mills put that in
Both
there.
of those were coming out of ARP, so everything the squad requested was just for salaries, I believe is what.
Yeah, salaries and like PPE, I think. That was the two things, but I noticed some odd things with the salaries, just looking at like salary schedules for those same positions. And I mean, if Sullivan County and Washington County are paying what they suggest are being paid, we're paying more than Nashville are. So
I've talked to several different ones, and we got more of a problem going on than people knows. And it's not salary. A lot of other different things going on.
well,
Beside the point of what we're talking about here.
yeah.
Well, Thursday, if we got something to hear, sure, but I'd recommend it. Shouldn't we get started on the, I'm gonna say, the easier would be to start working on the outside agencies to get that out of our way while finance is getting the final figures together, where we'll know
Yeah.
what we're having to work with.
So you want outside agencies?
Work outside agencies and, yeah, outside agencies.
Okay. And then do you want me to bring back what I've done on the jail and the sheriff's? You want to look at?
Yeah, if you've got something, in the works, let's take a look at it. See what we got.
If we ever did a report, I don't know if it's even coming up here or not on the honor guard.
They showed up and requested, didn't they?
What?
Honor Guard? Honor Guard, the outside agencies, didn't they show up and request?
They were invited to make the request and they received our packet of information.
They did.
And they would come back when they were ready with all of that information.
But it's one of them, where we've got the funds, we put the.
We did.
We placed our funds in reserve, so when
I thought we'd ask them to come back to a budget committee or something, did we not?
they did, but they got their package and they said they will come back when they get it completed. Well, if it happens to be after we approve the budget, we still have the reserve funds for it, plus the way that, I'm gonna say, the atmosphere, the mood, and the respect for their services, we have capable about to handle their
Yeah, because we've still got, because I
We
mean,
want to know at the end of June if we should carry that over, that 10,000 that was reserved, because it will expire on June 30th.
Yeah. well, we could just do another budget amendment after the fact because it would just be in the general fund and be able to come back out. So not terribly concerned about, I mean, it's just, it's 10 grand and we're more worried about the 1.1 million that we got. Well, yeah, Thursday, I guess we'll do outside agencies. We'll take a look at what you've got for sheriff's department so far, and we'll use that as a running total for the remainder of the month and see where we end up at.
Well, at least if we could get that done, I mean, Keith's gonna come over and meet with me tomorrow. I asked him to come over and help me.
Range?
Yes.
Okay.
With some stuff on the payroll side because he's more familiar with that and I had some questions about that. And then the other stuff, I'll look at where we are through third quarter and what was on the request and kind of go from there. And at least we'll have a ballpark so we can have a bottom line in there and know where we're at.
How are revenues, or did you get the revenues back for March yet finally?
Yeah, we just got those.
How did they come back?
We're gonna be very conservative in our estimations for revenue for next year. If we can squeak a little bit more out, we're going to, but I don't wanna overestimate.
Yeah, is it within an expected variance for what you would, like what we've done historically? Is it continuing to climb? Is it leveling out? Is it dropping?
Some things are up, some things are down, so.
Okay.
And some of them I'm still kind of questioning some things. Does it come in every month? Does it come in once a quarter? Does it come in every, twice a year? So I've been working with Lisa on some of that stuff to try to kind of understand where we're going to come out at year end, because of course this is the first time I've gone through this and I'm not really sure at this point. So she's been great to kind of help me figure some of that stuff out and figure out what we need to do. Jerry's doing a great job of doing the roll-ups and putting things in as we go through to kind of see where we're at.
Yeah, and like Ronnie said, there's 125 new houses being built right now, so those.
That's what I told him. I said, ooh, put that in. We didn't have that in.
Yeah, I know you can't guesstimate how much it's gonna be, but I mean, you take an average of what the tax rate.
He did that already. He gave me what to increase it from where it was this past year. So we've already put in what he gave me for that. So now we'll add this 125 to it.
Cool. All right, does anybody have anything else?
Let me say what a great job y'all doing.
Yeah, you guys are killing it.
Let me say it. So I was bragging on y'all today. I said, this is the first time I've ever seen the ducks in a row.
Yes.
I said, you're doing a great job. Also, you got to look at the office holders too.
Yeah.
Great job.
Well, the vast majority of the office holders do, when we say, hey, we need to run it tight, you could be a little bit looser. They generally don't go too far out around. So.
I mean, like I said, they've been great to work with. Everybody, I feel like everybody's, for the most part, done a good job.
Proud of you.
Last year just seemed, that was my first time, and I would go home going, wow, it was forever long, and it was such a battle. It's just not, it's quiet, it's on target, so it's a huge difference from last year for me. I mean, I'm sure y'all have seen different years, but for me, last year was a shocker.
The animal shelter pretty strong last year, didn't we?
They what?
The animal shelter wasn't that a pretty good argument most of the time, but.
It just seemed like everything was just a real battle, and I'm not seeing that. I mean, everything just seems very concise and very straightforward, and I like that.
If you remember, anytime that department was mentioned, it was already the rocket done left the land. Whether you've made it in or not, just as soon as you come up these front steps. Oh, God, man. And not to cast a cloud over, but that's the way the total meeting and everything else went.
Yeah.
And then there is still, I think there's still some waiting and anticipation as far as to the results that our representatives from our commission, Travis and Gary, how that ends up. Because that, matter of fact, that's going to be a number. It's going to be, has to be adjusted in our budget on the plus and minus.
It's in there as what it was in total for last year, because we had to do something, so.
Well, see, last year was 60-40, and now you're up to 32.
68.
3268. So, I mean, that's.
68.
Did we? I can't remember. Okay.
So that's something we're gonna have to get locked in,
Yeah, I don't remember.
one way or the other. Yeah. And then we probably may want to revisit with the numbers when we get more into, but on the communication thing, because we're looking at, tentatively, we were looking at the board bill, excess board bill for a partial payment or some funds for MID. And now if it goes to ARP and it's 100% funded, then you have that 300,000 to go back. So we got to get settled on it, and it may include Dr. Acuff, because make sure that his list, what we have, that we're on board, make sure that we have which way the money's coming from.
Correct. And the excess board bills, refresh my memory, that's just county funds. It doesn't have to be spent to anything in particular. Does it has to stay to the sheriff's department?
It has restrictions.
It has restrictions?
It has restrictions. And I mean, it's just 2 or 3 restrictions. Well, it's emergency use, I remember.
Emergency use, the radio system and the HVAC
HVAC.
system over there is what was put into the commission minutes.
Yeah, that was the restrictions that we set on it, but otherwise, those board bills, do they have a restriction beyond just being used for something in the sheriff's department specifically?
That's the problem from it. It goes into our general budget, but no,
It's commission restricted.
Right. We've got it restricted at the moment. Well, and if it comes back to it, what we could do is short what we take out of the ARP funds and then do the bond over 3 years for whatever those estimated payments would be, minus 300,000. That way we could have more funds available in the ARP and self-fund and pay back out of a self-funded bond for that other part. That way it still washes out in the end.
Well, would be a big difference if you didn't do that and ARP handled 100% of communication funds, that still left you your original balance in that to where the commission can set the boundaries on that.
Yeah, we would have to go back. We'd have to go back with a 2/3 to overturn the restriction on the funds. That would be the only thing. That would be the only switch. That'd be the only switch on it.
What's our ARP? What's that balance?
7.8. We haven't gotten the second payment yet, but that would be in total. What is not already reserved, I think it's 7.7, 7.8.
Put 7 million on
TDEC,
TDEC,
yeah.
which is 7.
That's gotta be utility based. Yeah, and Dr. Acuff and I have talked, and we've both kind of gone back and looked at what his requests, what request he received in outside agency. There was some double dip on those, so we can discuss that when we talk about outside agencies as well.
I like that one.
Because I had caught one and then he caught another one that had come in. So that's something to take into consideration as we're looking at outside agencies.
Anybody have anything else?
Yes, Patty, you said last night, maybe I didn't hear you right or something. You said if they're just gonna take the building down, a bit, building more.
They're talking about, maybe just tearing building 1 down and building a new building.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear.
Yeah, up at the workforce, yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, that makes solid waste, and I'll better hurry and get some property to, for our dump. Because if you take building 1 down,
That's it.
Hot dog.
Bring everything up the code.
Yeah, they're saying, I mean, they're just talking right now. I mean, they give it the option of seeing if it's